So we're continuing on from the first video. So this is part 2. So it says, since falsity is a necessary element of a defamation cause of action and only facts are capable of being proven false, it follows that only statements alleging facts can properly be subject of a defamation action, which is dealing with the issue of opinion. An expression of pure opinion is not actionable. When you see not actionable, it means you can't bring a case in relation to it. You can bring a case, but you don't have a cause of action. People could have filed a whole sorts of thing. But what it means is that you won't have a cause of action. And so you put yourself in a position for that matter to be dismissed summarily. No matter how vituperative or unreasonable it may be, which means if you note, Nosey Heaux made several comments as it relates to Nicki Minaj's baby boy. And in that filing, they said, we know the comments made about the Papa Bear is non-actionable. So this is what this is talking about. A person can say certain things, but it doesn't create or doesn't cause any cause of action. And so even if you file it as a claim, the court, more than likely will dismiss it because there's no cause of action. So it's saying here, a pure opinion may take one or two forms. It may be a statement of opinion, which is accompanied by a recitation of the facts upon which it is based. Or it may be an opinion not accompanied by such a factual recitation, so long as it does not imply that it is based upon undisclosed facts. So two criteria or two ways in which you look at opinion, all right? A pure opinion takes one or two forms. Statement of opinion, which is accompanied by recitation of the facts upon which it is based, or an opinion not accompanied by any factual recitation, so long as it does not imply that it is based upon undisclosed facts. Some people would say, make a statement and say, I don't want to say it, I don't want to put it out there yet, but I make this statement anyway. So one of the things to look at is to say, maybe Nosey Heaux has proof. Maybe she has proof that Nicki Minaj is what she said she is, but she just said she hasn't disclosed it. So she put it out there, but she's making it known that it is a statement of fact, but she doesn't want to disclose the information. She hasn't disclosed any proof. So perhaps that is what she's looking at as it relates to an opinion, a factual, based on factual recitation, undisclosed facts. Conversely, which means, on the opposite side, an opinion that implies that it is based upon facts which justify the opinion but are unknown to those reading. Or hearing it is a mixed opinion and is actionable. So Nosey Heaux made a statement of fact. We haven't seen any proof of what she's saying. She just made a statement. She hasn't shown us any proof of it. So they're saying, if it's an opinion, if the court rules, okay, what you said is an opinion, that implies that it is based upon facts which justify the opinion, but are unknown to those reading or hearing it. We, the people, the we she's talking about, we haven't heard anything. We haven't seen any proof of it. It is an opinion and is actionable. So Nosey Heaux said Nicki Minaj is a cokehead. Nosey Heaux has not provided an iota of proof of that. So if you're looking at it as an opinion, which implies facts, because she said, I know and we know, but she hasn't provided us with any proof. So that's where this is saying it's actionable, which means it is a matter for the courts. You can sue, and the court more than likely will not dismiss it because it is actionable. The latter is actionable. The latter means this last point here, with an opinion based that you claim is based on facts, but you haven't provided us any proof. The latter is actionable not because they convey false opinions, but rather because a reasonable listener, us, the viewers, the person who listened to Nosey Heaux, or reader, would infer that the speaker knows certain facts unknown to the audience, which support the opinion and are detrimental to the person. Nosey Heaux does not put forward to us any reason why whatever she's saying would come from a position of someone who knew. they refer to Nosey Heaux as a nobody, which means to my mind Nosey Heaux has no relation with Nicki Minaj. She doesn't run in Nicki Minaj's circle. So really, when she made that statement, would us the public look at it and say, well, it comes from from Nosey Heaux, and she must know if she's saying it. Look at the case that this description is coming from. In this case, the man did business with the plaintiff. The plaintiff did business with the two defendants. So when the plaintiff said they are con artists and they're all that he called them at the synagogue, at the podium, out on the street, and to the rabbi, that person did business with them. So when they made that statement, he made that statement, the public would more than likely say, he must know what he's saying because he was in business with them, which means the rate of believing that statement is very, very high. In this case, Nosey Heaux is a nobody. She doesn't do anything with Nicki Minaj. She's no part of Nicki Minaj's staff. She doesn't have any relationship with Nicki Minaj for us to say, well, she's close to Nicki Minaj, so what she's saying is true or must be true because she would know. She's in a position to know. That is not the case here. In distinguishing between facts and opinion, the factors the court must consider: 1, whether the specific language has a precise meaning that is readily understood; 2, whether the statements are capable of being proven true or false; and 3, whether the context in which the statement appears signals to readers or listeners that the statement is likely to be opinion, not fact. So when you distinguish between opinion and facts, these 3 criteria you look at. So whether the specific language has a precise meaning. Nosey Heaux didn't mince words. Nosey Heaux said, she's a cokehead, sniffing coke up her nose. So that is clear. Number 1 is there. Whether the statements are capable of being proven true or false, of course, yes it is. Nicki Minaj has said so. For those persons who don't believe that she is not has not taken cocaine, that she's willing to give hair samples, hair follicles, in order for it to be examined. So yeah, it can be proven. And 3, whether the context in which a statement appears signals to the readers or listeners that the statement is likely to be opinion, not fact. Nosey Heaux doesn't run in Nicki Minaj's circle. Nicki Minaj himself said that she's a nobody. So then, more than likely, highly, what she's saying is her opinion. But she's putting across her opinion as if it's facts, which makes it actionable. But these are the 3 things you look at. So while there's 2, the last element which says and, which means all 3 must be proven. So when you see and 3, it doesn't say or 3, it says and. So if you don't have all 3 elements, then guess what? You can't prove that what she's saying is factual. You can only say that what she's saying is her opinion, which she's trying to portray that it's facts, but it falls short of this 3rd element. We don't have any reason to believe that what Nosey Heaux is saying is true. And if we don't have reason to believe that what she's saying is true, then guess what? How could there be injury to reputation if the public don't believe what Nosey Heaux is saying? Because we don't know Nosey Heaux to be in Nicki Minaj's circle, for her to have this knowledge. So was there any injury to Nicki Minaj's reputation within this 4 days period? We shall see. The essential task is to decide whether the words complained of, considered in the context of the entire communication and of the circumstances in which they were spoken or written, may be reasonably understood or implying the assertion of undisclosed facts justifying the opinion. Now remember, in Nicki Minaj's filing, she alluded to some other artists who they believe is feeding this information to Nosey Heaux. So this is one of the things that the courts will look at when it comes to whether or not Nosey Heaux would have gotten this information from someone who then would probably be in a position to say, I know for a fact Nicky is doing this because I run in her circles. I was around her. I've seen her. Things of that nature. That's what this is dealing with. Viewed in the context in which the allegedly defamatory statements were made, a reasonable listener, now they're talking to us. We are the listeners. Whether or not we're reasonable is another thing, but The threshold here is saying a reasonable listener would likely understand those statements to imply that the Nisanis swindled the plaintiff out of money in connection with the business. Some of the things I said in this case that you looked at, the fact that they did business together, the fact that the man came from a position of knowing them. In the Nicki Minaj's case, they said Nosey Heaux is a nobody. And her being a nobody, she doesn't know Nicki. She doesn't run in Nicki's circle. So what is the chance that we believe what she's saying? Nosey Heaux is just like her. She just doesn't know. And if someone else is telling her that information and led her to believe she knows, then maybe she has some proof of why she's saying what she's saying. Maybe a video will be part of the discovery. We don't know. It is in the early stages. The statements can readily be proven true or false, and given the tone and overall context in which the statements were made, signal to the average listener that the plaintiff was conveying facts about the Nisanis. Now, if you look at it in Nosey Heaux's case, do we signal that Nosey Heaux was telling us facts when she made that statement? When she said, I know and we know? You know yourself. Did you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that Nicki Minaj is a cokehead? No, you don't. More than likely you don't. You don't have any proof. Yes, you could point to songs that she's singing and say, well, you sing this song and you said that. But because if you look at the past songs that she's sung and people say, oh, she always talks about drugs in her songs and so on. Yeah, that's artistic use of the words. And she has explained that. There's article written on that. I will get to those in this video. But can you then say that injured her reputation? If we already know Nicki sing about drugs, then was there an injury to her reputation within that 4 days? Perhaps in the case, Discovery will show maybe she had a concert that was being negotiated. Maybe some deals were being negotiated. And because this little nobody knows a hoe, who nobody knows, made some comment that caused those multi-million-dollar deals to go down the drain. We don't know. We shall see. It says here, even if the challenge statements had not conveyed assertions of fact, they would nonetheless be actionable as mixed opinion, since a reasonable listener would have inferred that the plaintiff had knowledge of facts unknown to the audience, which supported the assertion he made. We know Nosey is not in a position, or we believe, let me say believe, Nosey is not in a position to know factually that Nicki Minaj is a cokehead. Yeah, she made the statement and made it seem as though she know and we know. But when she said we know, do we know? No, I believe we don't. But she know, however she knows from whatever source, then that's for her to then, canvass that in her trial. And, the case will prove that. So it goes on to what happened in the case. The plaintiff also failed to establish prima facie, which means on the face of it at the beginning, that the challenge statements were not defamatory per se. So on the face of it, on what they put forward, the fact that this man did business with these people and he made this statement, the public would more than likely say, accept what he's saying as truth, because you did business with this man, you were partners, you know them, you run in their circles. In this case with Nicki Minaj and Nosey Heaux does not run in Nicki Minaj's circle because she's a nobody. So what the court said, they were not able to, that the challenge statements were not defamatory per se, since they charged the Nisanis with the commission of a serious crime and would tend to injure the Nisanis in their business by imputing fraud, dishonesty, misconduct, or unfitness in conducting their profession. Accordingly, we agree with the Supreme Court determination denying those branches of the plaintiff's motion, which were for summary judgment, dismissing the first and second counterclaims. So the higher court from the Supreme Court that they appealed from upheld the decision of the Supreme Court and said, yeah, we agree. There's no need for the court to have granted summary dismissal because there is a case to be heard. And so the court agreed with that lower court. So here I'm saying, if Nosey Heaux's statement false, is Nosey Heaux's statement false? What exactly did Nicki Minaj said in her infamous live video? A video has been circulating that's about over a year old, in which Nicki Minaj made some assertions. One being, she said in that May 14, 2021, the transcript that I've gotten from the YouTube video, and the minutes there, she said, but hey, but if you know, like I said, if you want to know, since y'all want to know my drugs and all of that, just listen to my music. So if you want to know what drugs Nicky is taking, she's telling you, listen to my music. Hi, hi. And then she goes on with her discussion and she talks about, here she said, yeah, I'll be talking about coke in reference to like weight, bricks. But when I talk about what I actually doing, I say popping them things together and smoking Los Angeles, like I say. So she's talking about popping and smoking. So in her live, while she's saying, listen to my music, if you see reference to coke, that doesn't mean she's telling you that I am a cokehead. She's saying, listen to my music. And then she went on to clarify, when I talk about what I actually doing, I say she used the word popping and smoking. Nosey Heaux's word is not popping and smoking cocaine. Nosey Heaux is saying she shoving cocaine up her nose. Nicki Minaj said, listen to my music and you know what my drug of choice, basically. And then she clarified that 48 seconds into the video where she's saying she used words like popping and smoking. I don't know if you pop and smoke cocaine, but it's for you all to determine. I don't know that well. And this is where she's saying she's willing to take a lie detector test. She's willing to offer here some follicles for it to be scalp tested. And she didn't mince words when she said she has never taken cocaine. And so the fact is said, never in my life. And test and see if I've ever in my life sniffed some and they blocked it out. I believe there's a curse word there. Coke, never. And Nicky has never come out and said, I take coke. So where the fact that Nosey Heaux believed she did, where she got that from, only time will tell. Looking at Nicki Minaj's lyrics, because she did say, she's the one that said, look at her lyrics. So I did. I looked at some of the lyrics. And here she's talking about cocaine. There's a mention of the word cocaine. But does that in itself tell that Nicki Minaj takes cocaine? No, it doesn't. She's making reference to the cocaine and she's telling what you can do with it, you know. Then another song, Set It Off, she makes reference to crack, and but she also says, and when you was in the hood with bottles of OE, I was OT, looking real low key. So what is OT? Well, OT is definitely not crack cocaine or cocaine. It doesn't, well, in terms of OT, I'm looking at it literally. OT does not equals cocaine. Pills and Potions is another song that I looked at where she talks about popping pills and, you know. And if you notice in her live, she said when she used the word popping and smoking, that's what she does. So I don't know if in Pills and Potions she's confessing or saying something, but what I know it definitely is not saying is that she's taking cocaine. I looked at several articles that feature Nicki Minaj, and one of those articles was written May 15, 2021 by Tikea Hayes, and the person was talking about Nicki Minaj video and made reference to what Nicki Minaj said in it, where the person said later in the day, Nicki Minaj hopped back on Instagram Live to address a few rumors that have circulated about her in the past. Like any other rapper who goes mainstream, she has found herself at the root of several controversial rumors. During her long-standing feud with Remy Ma, the latter claimed Nicki Minaj was a cokehead, and her 2017 diss track. And Nicki Minaj in addressing rumors once and for all about her drug use. And then it goes on to say what was said by Nicki Minaj in the video. So here you have Remy Ma saying she's a cokehead. That word sound familiar? Because that's the same word that Nosey Heaux used. You'll see how that will play out in the trial. The articles continue to say Nicki Minaj faced rumors of cocaine usage due to some of her lyrics that allude to drugs, such as her opening line as yikes, woke up, the price of coke up. However, Nicki Minaj is clarifying that she doesn't use cocaine. I don't know if it is just me, but I wouldn't be embarrassed about any effing drugs. I did. That's why I talk about the mother effing drugs. I do in my mother effing music. She said on Instagram Live, and they're making reference to the interview live, the Instagram Live that I just made they're making reference to the interview live that I posited at the top of the video. Uh, then another article in which they entitled "How Drug Lords Have Shaped Nicki Minaj's Queen," which have found the link is there. It says the rapper speaks like a kingpin on songs like Hard White and Majesty, Nicki Minaj's fourth album. So these are songs in which she talks about drugs and so on. It's not a crime to talk about drugs, but what it is showing is that her persona, her reputation is to discuss the drugs, is to discuss things, is to acquaint herself like a kingpin, drug lords. It talks here about Pablo Escobar, where she's using analogy to say, okay, I move within the music industry. She's like a Pablo Escobar, where it makes reference to the female drug lord and different things like that. But that in itself does not say that Nicki Minaj is a cokehead. But what it is saying is that Nicki Minaj has acquainted herself to these things, which deals with the issue as it relates to injury to her reputation, and that will be, I believe, will be canvassed in the case. There is further in that same article where she acquaints herself further with other drug lords, where she used words in cocaine, the word cocaine in her stuff, in her songs. Sorry, one of the godmother of cocaine, Griselda Blanco, drug lord, Griselda. I used to move weight through Delta, so stay in your place because I don't want to put you in a shelter. You know, so different lyrics of Nicki Minaj is showing where she is comfortable in discussing these things. And the fact that Nicki Minaj is a superstar, a super artist, as her claim says, shows that her reference to these things never injured her reputation. She's accepted and she's known for these things, and she's a great artist. And so that will tells well when it comes to the issue as to whether or not within that 4 days someone saying she's a cokehead has injured her reputation. Then further references to, you know, Nicki Minaj lyrics as it relates to cocaine and different drugs and things like that. But if you look at an article in 2019, December 2019, after the drug-related death of collaborator Juice WRLD, Nicki spoke about how drugs have shaped the opinion of hip-hop community at the Billboard Women in Music ceremony. Quote, it says, "I felt like he was kindred spirit, and looking back now, I wish I did something differently or said something to help. Drugs isn't the problem, it's the way we fix our problem. It's so important that we don't some curse word there, judgment, I guess past judgment, so that people don't feel ashamed to speak up and ask for help. It is important that we talk about mental health because people are dying." With a lot of Ping references already under her belt and a comment about the rising cocaine prices on Yikes, it seems like Nicki Minaj might be pushing out more as she approaches the release of a new album. So it's an article talking about her use of the references to drugs and kingpins and things like that in her songs. Like I said, even though she did those things, it never affected her reputation because she has soared to great stardom. And so that will look at in the issue as it relates to the injury to her reputation. I looked at another article where it said 10 female artists who feature drugs in their lyrics. Nicki Minaj is one of those articles. And here it makes reference to Super Bass, where she said to saying she's high as hell. I only took half a pill. Again, that is vindicating Nicki as it relates to what she said in her life, that she has never taken cocaine, that if you want to know her drug of choice, when she talks about popping pills and smoking, that's basically what she's saying is her drug of choice. In Anaconda, he said drug use is one of the many things Nicki Minaj is unapologetic about. She also establishes herself as defying conventions of femininity by dropping sports reference in her songs. So again, Nicki Minaj is not new to using references to drugs in her song. The thing it goes to is whether or not 4 days after Nosey Heaux would have said she's a cokehead, how that injured her reputation when the history of her songs, the history of how she's been known, is that she makes reference to cocaine, make reference to drug lords, and but in a artistic context. All right, so that goes to the issue of how it affected her reputation, how the injury took place. So After that brief review of songs, articles, and case, should Nosey Heaux file a motion to dismissal? I believe she should. I believe they should. My reason for believing that, my observation is that the suit said Nosey Heaux is a nobody. Nosey Heaux is no close friend of Nicky's. She does not run in Nicky's circle. So why would people believe Nosey that she would know such intimate details of Nicky's life, especially after Nicky publicly denied any such rumor? Nosey did not give us any information that she has proof outside of her words saying so. Does Nosey Hoppen has any influence on us for us to say, well, once Nosey says it, it must be true? No, she doesn't. Well, at least the masses, and remember you said a reasonable listener, so you're going to have to do a poll to say the amount of people that you would consider to be that reasonable listener. If you're saying that 2,000, 3,000 persons that who have viewed it, shared it on Nosey Ho's thing, and even now discussing it, part of that will make up that reasonable listener if we believe Nosey Ho because she made that statement. I don't think so. I don't believe Nosey Ho. Nosey Ho has not shown me anything in black and white to say that what she's saying is true. It is an opinion, and she's probably putting it forward as a factual opinion. But like I said, the three elements is not there. I don't believe much people believe Nosey Ho to be speaking truth or facts when she made that statement. And the third reason for me is given that Nicky's style of comparing herself to drug lords and her artistic use of drugs used in her lyrics does not amount to her being a cokehead. And that is true. It doesn't amount to her being a cokehead. And people know that. For someone referencing drugs in her song and having the level of stardom she enjoys, how can there be a solid argument that Nosey, a nobody, saying she's a cokehead without more injure her character? If anything, Nosey is old news because Remy Ma said that already. And there is no suit against Remy Ma as it relates to her calling Nicki Minaj a cokehead. So that's my reason why I believe Nosey Ho's attorney should file a motion to dismiss, because I don't think and I don't see how in 4 days after a statement was made, there could be an injury to your reputation, having regard to the fact that throughout in articles, in songs, it has been discussed, it is there that Nicki makes reference to these songs, that the drugs seem to be an integrated part of her songs and her persona, and people has not refuted them. The reasonable listener, the reasonable people who follows her, who listen to her, has not put her in dispute because she is disparage her character because she is famous. She's a great artist. She has just been awarded with the Vanguard Award, and so I don't think there has been any injury to her reputation. But then again, I don't know. I don't run in her circles. I myself is a nobody. I'm just trying to grow my channel and do this legal research so that we could all look at things critically and not just take words that's being said and not just look at and try to have a great appreciation for it. And so my conclusion is, Mr. Bobby Samini, I do believe you should file that motion to dismiss. And that is the end of our video. People, I ask you all to please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to reach 1,000. Help me so I can monetize instead of make that money, that shmoney, to use Cardi B's word. That is the end of my video. Thank you all. Thank you for listening, and please comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if I've gotten anything wrong in this video as it relates to my analysis, as it relates to the articles. I mean, I do posted the sites where I got them from, so you all can look at it. Let's have a discussion. Let's discuss it. These are teachable moments, and these are moments that I like, I enjoy, when we could help each other and educate each other. And so with that, I said from Get Legit LLC, thank you. Subscribe, like, hit that notification button. Goodbye.